to Big V TV. Great to have you with us for a Friday night heading into round 5. And I've got a big date with my Sydney Swans tonight, Steve-O, so I want to get out of here quickly.
No, fair enough.
And it's just you and I, which is good because we don't have to look after the other bloke that's normally with us, and that usually takes some doing.
Yeah, a bit of babysitting, is that right?
Bit of babysitting as always. He's not with us tonight, but big weekend coming up, round 5. Let's get stuck straight into it. As you know, Friday nights, the biggest games of the round, and some analysis as well, which we love to talk stats here. It's probably our most serious night of the week, I think, Friday nights on Big V TV.
By far.
What are you up to for the weekend, by the way?
Go check out some Big V action.
Yeah, where are you going?
Probably head out to some state champ men.
Nice.
I think one of the games of the round, actually.
Okay, all right, we'll have a look at that
touch on
shortly.
a little bit later.
Here we go, Youth League 2 women. Our game of the round is Southern Peninsula at 4 and Zip, taking on our good friends down at Frankston 2 and 2. Why is it game of the round, Steve?
Well, obviously the Sharks flying out of the blocks.
Yes.
They've been finding different contributors each and every week.
Right.
Frankston, a little bit inconsistent at the moment at 2 and 2, but I like where they're going. I think
Big game for them.
a couple of losses, they still showed signs. Obviously back into the competition as well. A little bit helps to have a slow start. But Annabelle Fitter, just under 13 points per game, showing some great
Been
signs
good the
as
last
well.
couple of weeks.
I think it's a really good litmus test for the Blues.
Got to win.
For Frankston.
Yes.
Okay.
No. They've got to win. I didn't say they will win.
Oh.
I said they've got to win. Can't go 2 and 3 against a team heading to 5 and Zip. You got to try. You got to beat a team above you. You have to get one back on a team above you, and this may be their chance.
Okay, I don't know whether it will happen straight away, but they'll certainly find some form towards the end of the season if they don't win this game.
Right, so clearly you don't rate their chances this weekend. Let's have a look at Youth League 2 men, Keysborough and Maccabi. It's 4 and 2 versus 4 and 1, and this will be an absolute beauty.
Yeah, well, a couple of key players in this one. Obviously, Johnny Selhurst averaging just over 14 points per game for Keysy. I like Maccabi at the moment. They've got Idan Sharmas, Eden Tenenberg and Max Vadas, all really consistent over the first month or so. I think that will put them in good stead for the future.
And the Warriors going for their 3rd win on the trot as well, so they've got a little bit of form behind them. Mind you, Keysy are 4 and 2. I think Keysy had a little bit of an upset last week. Lost last week, I think they did. So anyway, we'll have a look at that one, but that looks like a very, very good game in Youth League 2 men. Let's go to Youth League 1 women. It's Sunbury versus Eltham now. I wasn't at the production meeting, never been to one in 9 years. Sunbury are 4 and Zip.
Yes.
4 Zip, Steve-O. That's an unblemished record.
Correct.
Eltham are 1 and 3. They are coming in off a win. I'll give them that. But why is this game of the round? It's 4 Zip versus 1-3.
Well,
they're polar opposites.
They're not polar opposites. Eltham scored their first win last week, as you mentioned, just starting to try and come into some form. Sunbury, obviously.
I know the way your brain thinks, Steve-O. You must think Eltham's a mighty chance here. I know the way you think, young man.
I've got a couple of questions coming your way because you said over the last week and a half that there was some mail coming out of Eltham. You were incorrect last weekend. Just wanted to keep tabs, and you got any update on that information?
I have got an update. The mail was very strong that there were some inclusions coming to Eltham. Return to sender. The mail has been returned to the sender. Unfortunately, it was delivered to the wrong address, and Australia Post are trying to rectify the situation at the moment, but it is a clear return to sender. The mail was crap. The mail that I got wasn't right.
Right. So. Okay, so Sunbury, again, should go into this as firm favourites.
Right, okay. So why is it game of the round?
Well, if the mail was just a little bit delayed, then it was game on, wasn't it?
Do you? Well, it may still be game on. You never know. Because Eltham's coming in off a win. Just looking at this game and the notes that you've made, we're talking Sunbury and Eltham Youth League 1 women. I've got all these notes in front of me about this game, and there's only one player mentioned in those notes.
Well, it's in
one player.
It's in size 45. The rest is in size 11. Well, Chloe Engrove's been averaging 12 points a game for Sunbury. Clearly the number one option for the Jets, and we'll be continuing to fly the flag.
You are unbelievable, Steve-O. One player he mentions in Youth League 1 women. Let's go to Youth League 1 men. Now, someone's going to lose. This is game of the round, and absolutely, it is a corker. It is the Jets, and they're up against the Falcons, of course. 6 and Zip and 4 and Zip. Take us through it.
Well, Kyle Collins certainly in some form for the Jets.
Great form.
23 points per game. Waverley have had a handful of contributors. Andy Nola off the bench has been really good. But I want to take a look at Sunbury's shot chart, as you can see on screen now. A bunch of threes. And have a look at that inside the paint.
Inside the paint.
They're
very
doing
good.
a really, really great job on
Yep.
offense.
Just on Kyle Collins, he had 40 last week, and absolutely would have been a lay-down misere for the blue carpet. But if we don't get the results in,
We didn't know about it.
we can't
until
do anything about it.
12 p.m. today.
That's right. So there's a fair chance Kyle Collins will be in the round 5 blue carpet, courtesy of his efforts in round 4. Who's going to win this game? If in doubt, you've got to go the home team. Jets are up and about.
Well, they've had a few extra games on Waverley, as you can see by the record. But I just really like the way Waverley are going about things. I think they're
Ooh,
in with a really good chance on the road.
not going the home team.
No.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm going the Jets. VYC women with thanks to Moulton. Hawthorn and Nunawading is our game of the round. The Magic are 3-3. Nunawading are 4-1. Are you thinking about a Hawthorn upset?
Certainly it's in question.
Okay.
I think Nunawading after round 1, they had a really poor performance. We just sort of questioned, is that the start you really want to get off to? They had the change at the coaching helm, obviously, but they've just come out flying
Yep.
since the end of round 1.
Hawthorn put up a lot of shots, Steve-O.
Well, they do. They're second in field goal attempts in the competition, first in three-point attempts. They're also second in three-point percentage, but it's at 28%, which is, for second in the competition, probably saying something about the rest of the division.
Well, what you're saying is they can't shoot threes. That's what you're saying, Steve.
Well, it's
Why don't you just put it on the table?
a hot tip for currently BYC women. Get to the rack.
Brianna Sands, 12.5 points. Bella Niven Brown, 14 points a game for Hawthorn. They're two players that have to be stopped. They're on their home deck. I still think the Spectres.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Okay, let's go to VYC men with thanks to Moulton as well. And no doubt this is game of the round. It'll be an absolute beauty. I think it's on Saturday night, tomorrow night. It is McKinnon and Eltham. They're both at 4-1. Lot to play for, bragging rights especially. They've both had cracking starts to the season, and they've taken some big scalps along the way.
Certainly McKinnon, and I guess to a point Eltham as well. Cougars haven't lost since round 1. Really like the look of Jordan Gear.
Yeah, playing well.
Luke Painenborg.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Hopefully. Eltham,
We call him Lukey P, by the way.
Lukey P. Beautiful. Eltham going for their third straight win. Like I've mentioned it before over the last couple of weeks, like the depth
Yes,
of the
very
Wildcats now. McKinnon are a horrible three-point shooting team, actually. They're third last at 23%.
Yep.
But on the flip side of that, inside the arc, they're brilliant at 48%, I believe, from inside the arc. And that's good for second or third in the competition.
What I'll tell you is this about McKinnon. I'll give you a little bit of an insight so you get to see these guys a lot. When they start firing from outside, look out. Lights out.
Well, there you go.
At the moment,
currently third last and still winning games.
At the moment, they just haven't been able to execute that in games. When that comes, look out. They can seriously shoot from outside. It just hasn't come yet. So,
Right, yeah, there you go. So on the up.
Who's going to win, McKinnon or Eltham? Who are you going for?
I've liked Eltham since round 1, so I'm going to stick with the Wildcats.
Going to be a very, very good game. One of the best coaches in the business, bar none, will be out there leading the way for McKinnon. Sorry, I'm in Eltham. Let's go to Division 2 women. Game of the round is Melbourne Uni up against Melton. It's round 5. Melton's only played 3 games so far, but it's 3-1 versus 2-1. And of course, Melton are the new kids back on the block this season. And this is a really good test for them. Melbourne Uni is always a difficult place to play, especially when they've got that slushy machine going in the corner. If they can topple the Black Angels, maybe the Thoroughbreds are a contender.
Yeah, certainly. It'll put them in a pretty good position moving into the middle parts of the season. Emily Attard has had 14 points per game. Jenna Conroy averaging 19 a game, but it's been a bit up and down. She's had a couple of really good performances and one poor performance. For Melbourne Uni, Lauren Ballagante is leading the way.
Very good, yes.
And there's a host of role players just underneath her.
Well, Fiddler on the roof.
Yeah, Kylie Turnley.
If she gets, absolutely. They've got some good players. So who's your tip, Steve-O? Who do you think's going to win that game?
Melbourne Uni at home, as you mentioned, tough place to play. I'm going to stick with the Black Angels.
I think that's a pretty good tip. Let's go to Division 2 men, and it is all hands on deck up at the border. Because the Bushies are looking for their first win. They're 0-4. They take on Sherbrooke 2-4. And of course, Sherbrooke have had some changes. Let's not forget that. it's going to be a really big test for Northeast, but they themselves have had an import change as well.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, the Waverley
Yes.
import has come in to the Bushies lineup. I feel like this is a bit of a common trend with Northeast over the last 3 or 4 years. They've started off fairly slow, had everyone rally behind them, and they've really put together a good back half of the season,
Yep.
and probably just missed out on finals to that point. I think they're at that stage again. They've got that extra inclusion to come in, obviously, from the loss of Cannon Burrows before
Yes.
round one.
Yep.
I think this is one they can get.
Well, I thought the Bushies were very good last week, but they got beaten by Kelvin Henry, let's be honest. They got within, I think it was about 9 points up in Mildura, which is one of the toughest places to play. And Kelvin Henry had a night out with 47. They got beaten by one of the best imports that we've seen in the competition over the last 10 years in Big V. So I think that they are going to be a lot better on their home deck. Their imports in there for the second game. They take on Sherbrooke, who've had their own changes and injury concerns so far as well. They're 2-4. Eric Miraflores is in pretty good form at the moment, going at 21.8 a game. Hot and spicy. Nick Spicer loves a bit of hot and spicy. 15.8 a game, and
Speaking of him, actually,
can shoot the three. Hot and spicy. Look out for him from the arc.
a couple of other nicknames that have come through to the Big V TV hot desk. Old Spice.
We're the hot desk now.
Yeah, well, the hot desk studio, whatever you like.
Man, what was that?
Old Spice, yeah. Feedback coming
It's
through
only
from
24, I think.
some of Nick's friends that Old Spice, hot and spicy, he's got a number of different
Right,
nicknames
okay.
now.
All right, well, maybe we'll have a show dedicated to Nick Spicer nicknames at some stage in the future. Or maybe not. But anyway, who's going to win this game?
As I said, I really think the Bushies can grab this one, especially on home deck. I'm going to tip them to win their first game.
Well, a couple of guards doing very well for Sherby at the moment with Miraflores and Spicer. So maybe that's where their attack's going to come from again. No doubt Northeast a little bit bigger inside at the moment. I like what the Bushies did last week, even though they were on the road and they got smacked by Kelvin Henry. I think the Bushies are a big chance to break the duck. It's a big, big test for Sherbrooke on the road. Let's go to Division 1 Women. Game up at Mildura, who are always good in their home deck. They did have a loss there recently, though. Let's not forget that to Whittlesea.
Blip
But
on the radar.
this will be a big one. They're taking on Camberwell. The Dragons have surprised everyone with a 4-zip start. Mildura 4-1. It is game of the round.
Well, this really is 1 and 2 in the competition. Camberwell first in field goal percentage, Mildura second in field goal percentage. Camberwell second in effective field goal percentage, Mildura first in effective field goal percentage. Here's the difference in the two teams. Mildura first in 3-point attempts,
Well, that's Vanessa Power.
quite clearly.
Yep.
At Camberwell, dead last in 3-point attempts. So that's what's going to be the big difference in the game.
Sarah Stone is going at 14 points a game, but she's had some really good players in and around her. Talia Higgs, great to see her back playing. She's been a dynamo so far as well. Great pickup for Camberwell. Alexis Gassion, 16 and 12. She's the import for Mildura. Vanessa Power going at 20 points per game. Just continues to do what she does. I'm hearing maybe Camberwell 1 or 2 players missing this week.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Well,
Tomorrow night up in
Will
Mildura.
certainly hurt the Dragons' chances. They were probably underdogs going up to Mildura anyway, but certainly hurts their
Who
chances
you
a
going
little
for?
bit more. I'm going for Mildura, especially off that extra piece of news as well.
I think it's going to be an OT game.
Okay.
I think this one's going OT.
There you go.
I think it'll be right down to the wire. Don't be surprised if we get an additional 5 minutes played, and from there anything can happen. But I like what these two teams are doing. Let's go to Division 1 Men. Two of our country teams are headed for a big, big battle. They've got a lot to play for. Believe it or not, Warrnambool are at home again. Played a double at home last week. They're down at the Arc. They're 3 and 2. They take on Shepparton 5-1. Shep coming off a loss on their home deck to Keezy.
A couple of big concerns. As you mentioned, Warrnambool played a bunch of home games. Record of 3 and 2.
Yep.
They're usually really strong over the last couple of years. That concerns me, especially once they hit the road. Obviously, Xavier Blount dominating. Alex Gines has been really good in that secondary role.
Yep.
But for Shepparton, you've touched on it in the last couple of weeks. Their 2 imports are just freaks.
I'm happy to play two.
Unbelievable.
I'm happy to play 2 on 2 tomorrow night. I'm happy for the crowd to rock up and see some 2 on 2 action. Alex Gines going at 20 points. Javier Blount going at 32 for Warrnambool. For Shep, Cam Vines at 22 and 13. Spencer Coleman at 21 and 13. I'm happy to play some 2-on-2. In fact, if this game is close at 3/4 time, I dare both coaches just to go with some 2-on-2 for the last quarter. You know what? It would be newsworthy. It'd be on ESPN next week. It'd be newsworthy across the world. Nothing against all the other players, but if this is within 2 or 3 points at 3/4 time, let's throw caution to the wind. Let's do something that's never been done in basketball before, and let's just play some 2-on-2 down the stretch. What do you think?
Sounds pretty good, actually. I think the crowd would put their hands up for that. Speaking of Shepparton,
Yes.
just touching on their shot chart we've got to see on screen now. Where do you even start with it? It's just,
Wow.
it's crazy. They're shooting from absolutely anywhere on the floor.
We've got to try and stop that, Steve-O. And I think that's the big test for Warrnambool. Went down to Chelsea last week, then got Collingwood at home at the Arc. This is a big game, and I'm looking forward to see how Shepparton bounce back off a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll come out as strong as ever. I mean, we spoke about Warrnambool losing a couple down at the Arc. This could be the third one.
Can you tip a winner?
I'm tempted to go Shepparton's way. I think the Gators might get it done on the road.
I like Shep, but I also know that Javier Blunt is an absolute star, Steve-O. I'll tell you what, nothing would please me better than to wake up Sunday morning and hear that we've had some 2-on-2 action down at Warrnambool. Anyway, it's going to be a great game. Let's go to State Champ Women. Round 5 coming up, game of the week, and it does promise to be a beauty. I'm looking forward to the test of the Jets as they head down to Southern Peninsula. The Sharks are 3-1, the Jets are 2-2.
I had some news throughout the week in Southern Peninsula.
Yes.
The Sharks released import Jordan Henry.
Yes.
Peyton Little doing a lot down there, 19.5 points per game. Jazz Shelley at the point, 17.5 points per game. The Sharks are now on the lookout for a replacement import.
Same thing.
Not too sure any names in those circles, but certainly Southern Penn doing very, very well, now releasing a second import.
Bronze medalist back for the Jets.
Yeah, Josie Stockwell back in the
will be
lineup for Sunbury. They're first in field goal percentage as well, at just over 40% in the competition. It's been a little bit of an inconsistent start for Sunbury by their standards at least, dropping a couple of games, and they'll be ever so keen to get one over Southern Penn on the road.
Love what the Sharks are doing. Absolutely love it. They are just going gangbusters. They get after it. They are absolute fierce competitors. I think they're missing a couple of their young stars as well at the under-18 nationals.
Yes.
Maybe Liv Pollard's missing. So I think they start behind the 8 ball in this one. Can't see the Jets dropping another one.
No, neither can I.
Sorry, I think they'll drop another game during the season. I just can't see them dropping
this
going
particular
to 2 and 3.
game. Yeah, correct. I tend to agree.
I think
Especially
they'll knuckle down.
you've lost your import probably at an awkward time, especially as you mentioned, the under-18 championships being on means you lost another couple. You have to bring some up from the youth league. Jets will probably start favourite.
And finally, State Champ Men heading into round 5. It's been a cracking competition so far, and our game of the round looks like it'll be a beauty. Knox and Ringwood, the Raiders are 3-2, having won a couple last weekend, and Ringwood are 4-1.
Well, we know how good Ringwood are in terms of shooting the ball. You look at the flip side of that, Knox are second last in field goal percentage at 39%. Chris Carver leading the way with 14 points per game, but he can be stopped. As you would know, he was kept at 4 points against the Cougars. So it's really a barometer for Knox. Right now, I think if Carver goes off, they really do keep pace with
They
the
had
Hawks.
25 last Saturday night, I think.
If they really do slow him down, the margin will blow out pretty quickly.
One thing Knox do well, they do a lot of things well, but one thing in particular that I noticed last week, because they're not an overly tall team, especially with Orban's out at the moment with a broken hand, but one thing they do really, really well is they get after rebounds and get a lot of offensive rebounds. So they might be shooting at 39%, but they're getting the ball back a fair bit. And they are coming off a really good weekend.
Yeah, that's right. I think this will be one of the cracking games of the weekend.
Who's going to win?
Look, you can't go past Ringwood at the moment. 4-1 record. I think Jacob Gibson in some great form.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, they're very good. I can't go past the Hawks.
If Gibson and Dyson go to each other in this game, it is going to be one of the best matchups that we've seen so far this season in State Champion. I reckon it'll be an absolute beauty. And it'll go a long way to deciding the result. Those two going head to head. Both are great shooters. if they go head to head in this big one, it's going to be a ripper.
Yeah, very good. Looking forward to it.
Round 5 coming up this weekend. Get out there and support your teams as always. We've just had a look at 12 of the biggest games, but there's lots and lots to play out across the weekend. And of course, big Anzac week coming up next week as well. Look forward to that as always on Big V TV. Have a great weekend. As I said, get out there and support your team. We'll be back on Monday night at the desk. See you then.